Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me, your host, Sharifah Hardie, for another episode of Ask Sharifah videocast and podcast. Today's guest, you have seen her on all of my shows, from the Roundtable Talk Show to Face to Face. She was even on Love and Harmony talking about relationships. So we had to take the time to sit down with this lovely young lady and find out more about her. But she's a dear friend of mine who I can always count on to make me laugh. She's such a joy in the world. Now, one of the reasons she's so amazing is that she is the profit attraction master. But on top of that, she is also a bookstore owner, event manager, sound healer, and law of attraction coach. Good afternoon to Miss Sue Wilhite.
Oh, Sharifah, thank you. Thank you. You do such great intros. Oh, it makes me go, wow. Yeah, okay.
Everyone says that. I think it's just the tone and the reflection, because I just read what people send me. So I'm like, somebody is going to send me one someday that's like, I'm the Queen of Sheba, and that's what I'm going to read. Sue is right. The Queen of Sheba, okay?
There we go.
I'm excited. It's so much to talk about. It's been a while since we really got to talk about you and what you have going on. And I also had the honor and the privilege of having a session with you. So I know firsthand what it feels like to work with you. Now, before I go off into my million different questions, I'm going to go ahead and invite the audience to share this show, because I guarantee you it's going to be incredible. Sue is always incredible. So you don't want your friends to miss out on what we're talking about here today. But before I go too much again into my questions, Sue, I'll allow you to tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you passionate about?
Oh, goodness. We've got an hour, right?
Yes.
So I started out my life. I mean, this will be a really capsule version of the changes that I've gone through, and permission for people who are going, oh my God, I can't figure out what I want to do. It's like, pick something. Because here's what I went through. I started out knowing that I was going to be a veterinarian. I saw a cat get run over in front of my house, and it broke my heart, and I wanted to help it. I was 8 years old, and I was going to be a veterinarian because I was going to save animals. And for the next 10 years, I was going to be a veterinarian. And this is, I think, my first application, all unknowing, of the law of attraction, because I was going to go to the University of California, Davis, and I was going to be a veterinarian. I was going to go to their vet school. This was very clear to me. There was no other way to do it. I didn't apply to any other schools. Now, let me tell you, I had a B+ average. And let's just say that my SAT scores were not stellar. They were nowhere near perfect. And I got into the University of California, Davis. So as far as now, I'm looking back going, that was a miracle. Well, one of the reasons that my SAT scores were really horrible was I scored really high on the English and language part, but I scored really low on the mathematics part, because my mother, bless her heart, had programmed me to think that I was really bad at math. And she succeeded. So I got into college, and all of the college science courses, I got the concepts. I was totally on board with the concept. I could to this day tell you how starfish walks or what Avogadro's number are.
I didn't even know starfish walk. I just thought they just kind of laid there.
No, starfish walk, and it's really cool. Someday I'll tell you. It's neat. But I failed the science courses because I couldn't do the math. So I switched to comparative literature, not knowing what the hell I was going to do when I got out of college, because now here I got this college, I was getting this college education and no idea what I was going to do with it. And then spring quarter of my senior year, I took an introduction to programming class. The basic computer language, says basic in all caps, basic computer language. And I fell in love with the programming. And a few years later, after taking some JC courses, I was hired as a programmer. And I became a programmer, systems analyst, database designer. And I did that for the next 20 years until I got an ulcer.
Okay, I just have to cut in here in the middle of your story. And I don't typically cut in. Well, yes, I do. But I'm gonna just cut in right now. Because knowing you, Sue, I feel like you would be bored. Like just bored as all get out, sitting there just looking at data and information.
Well, programming was a lot of creativity. It was a lot of problem solving. I ended up working for smaller management information systems departments. And so for the first couple of jobs that I had, I was working with every department there was in the companies. So I was working with finance, I was working with HR, I was working with sales and marketing and manufacturing and inventory and customer service. So I was designing databases and programs for all of those different things. And for all of them, I had to learn what they were doing. Right? So it was never boring. It was like, really, you want to do that? Why do you want to do that? What does that accomplish? How does that work? And I got really good at analysis because I had to ask those questions because I didn't know. And the only way that I could succeed was by asking them deep level questions about what they were doing and why. So no, I wasn't bored. I was incredibly stressed.
Oh, wow.
Which is why the ulcer. I took on way too much responsibility. As far as I was concerned, the CEO was running the company, but the running of the company was on my shoulders.
Right. I've been there in quite a few positions where I'm the supervisor, I'm the manager, but everybody knows that I'm the go-to person for the company, no matter what the title is.
Exactly. And by the way, not only was I doing IT, but people would come to me with their personal problems, right? I was the go-to person, not just for, where do you find whatever and how do you get so-and-so to talk to so-and-so, but sadly, in one of the companies, one of the folks in the stockroom committed suicide.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
It was absolutely devastating. I had 40 or 50 people in my office over the next couple of weeks going, what's going on? How do I deal with this? And so I was emotional support as well. Plus people's marriages, how they talk to their kids and all of that sort of thing. So after I'd had my ulcer for a year, which is not fun, a friend of mine invited me to a hypnotherapy demonstration. And over the course of a couple of hours, the guy who was doing the hypnotherapy demo used me as his test dummy, as it were. And by the end of it, I didn't have an ulcer.
Oh, wow. It was completely gone?
It was gone.
Oh, wow. What happened when you went I'm gonna let you tell the story, but I just like to ask my questions. What happened when you went to the doctor? What did your doctor say?
Fortunately, I had a doctor who was very much of the mind-body connection.
Okay.
And said, well, since stress is a major influence on ulcers and hypnotherapy is known to reduce stress, then she said, I could totally see that, I didn't quite tell her that it was gone in the space of a night. I think that would have strained her
beliefs.
Yeah. But it was like, hey, I went to go see a hypnotherapist and now my ulcer's gone. I'm not taking the drugs anymore. And she was like, great. But I decided to make a career change. And so I studied hypnotherapy and all different variations on it for the better part of a year. I gave notice at the beginning of the class. At the beginning of my first class, I gave them 18 months notice.
Oh, wow.
And said, I'm going to study for a year. I'm going to build my practice for 6 months, and then I'm gone.
How were you so sure that you were going to be able to get it done in 18 months?
because I knew about business.
Mhm.
And because the school that I chose was also about business.
Okay.
It was one of the few schools that I know of that also taught, as part of it, the business of hypnotherapy. And they invited different hypnotherapists from around the country to come in and talk about how they built their practices, best practices of building practices, marketing, how to deal with doubt and disbelief and all of that sort of thing. So there was a lot of practical information included with the classes.
How do you deal with doubt?
So people would come up to me and they would say, this is my favorite question, by the way. So you're going to make me cluck like a chicken? And I'd say, well, no, not unless it's therapeutically necessary. And they would
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is. You know, if clucking like a chicken is going to make you better, then sure, I'm going to give you the suggestion to cluck like a chicken. And chances are good you're going to do it because your subconscious is going to recognize that that is what you need. And if it's not what you need, then you're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to make you do anything. And people get the wrong idea about hypnotherapy, is that it's not about me as the hypnotherapist making you as the client do anything. It's me as the hypnotherapist going, hey, subconscious, let's try this. Let's see if this works. You know, there's kind of a problem here. Let's get over it.
Okay, so when you did this with your ulcer, the ulcer never came back.
Ulcers never come back, not in, let's see, that would have been, I saw my very first paying client at the end of 95. So that would have been 93, the end of 93.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it definitely made you a believer.
It made me a believer. Yeah, that is what they call a convincer.
Yes. Wow.
Right.
So does hypnotherapy work for just about anything, or are there particular things that hypnotherapy will not work for? I know people use it for quitting smoking, right. You know, so dieting, you know, just the suggestions.
Right, right. Dieting, stress management, all kinds of medical issues. And I don't want to tread on the AMA's, you know, bailiwick, but a lot of things that are going on in our bodies are regulated by what's going on in our subconscious minds. Mm-hmm. And things like the thyroid, the stomach, you know, the gut, there's a bunch of bodily functions that can be manipulated or changed by using hypnotherapy as a suggestion, as a vehicle for allowing those changes to happen. One of the great medical hypnotherapists of the world, a guy by the name of Milton Erickson, Dr. Milton Erickson, was a medical doctor, and he cured himself of polio by using the power of his mind when he was a kid, and then started to study hypnotherapy as a practice, you know, learning everything he could about it. And this was in the 40s and 50s before it became anywhere near as recognized as it is now. And one of his favorite things was to go to medical conferences and do a talk about hypnotherapy and have somebody come up who had chronic knee pain or chronic, you know, bursitis in their elbows or something like that. And he'd make it move around their body.
Oh, wow.
He'd get the pain to, you know, go in different spots in the body going, hey, you know what? It's just a function of inflammation in the body, and you can control the inflammation in your body, and we can make it move. And he would do that. It's like, whoa. So
have you been able to do that?
I was able to do it once. I don't like to play with it, you know, unless it was, again, therapeutically necessary. Milton Erickson had the advantage of having an MD after his name, mm-hmm. And could play that way. I know it can be done. I know people do it. I just didn't feel comfortable doing it.
Yes, because with medical, you don't want to be like, oops, I broke it.
Right, right. Well, what I didn't want to do was have somebody's inflammation move from their elbow to their knee and have them go to their doctor and say, hey, doc, this gal just moved my, now I have inflammation in my knee, and have the doctor go, whoa.
Right, right.
Yeah, we can't have this happen. She's making her knee go bad. It's like, oh God, no, that's not what we were doing. So I just didn't even want to play that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very cautious about not the old-fashioned definition of the word insult.
Okay.
I don't want to insult the medical profession. And I try to stay out, although part of what I took in my classes was 6 months of medical anesthesiology,
Oh, wow.
Hypnoanesthesiology, because we had to learn how the different functions of the nervous system worked in order to do that. So that was a lot of fun. That was brain candy, literally.
You're like a mad scientist. Anything is out there. It's like, oh, exciting for Sue, like a little squirrel.
I love physiology. I mean, I wanted to be a veterinarian, partly because I'm fascinated with the way the body works, with the way the brain works, with, all of this amazing construction that we've got. I mean, yeah, there's things like the elbows and knees that nobody in their right mind would have designed, but we got them anyway. But it's all amazing how this all works together.
Yes.
And I love it. And the fact that we have this mind that has influence and control over a lot of it is also just, brain candy. Again, fun stuff. I can read medical articles for years. Yes.
So do you feel that hypnotherapy was your gateway into all the other things that you're doing?
Absolutely. That was going to be my next thing. It just completely opened the door to everything. I learned part of what we learned in hypnotherapy was how to do past life regressions, and that led me down, the whole past life thing, and which I have a completely different theory about.
We get to hear your theory?
Sure. This is kind of fun. So the idea, as most people know, past life regression or past lives, is that, at some point, we have souls. We have this state that is not our physical bodies. And when we pass on, when the physical body finally stops, there is an extra piece that goes on and then inhabits another physical body. There's some theory that says sometimes you enter into a baby, and sometimes there's what's called walk-ins, where if somebody as an adult has decided to check out, another soul could just walk into that adult body and bypass all the teenagerhood.
I've never heard of that. That is new for me. I didn't know. Did the person have to be in a coma?
Sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes somebody is about to commit suicide and just says, I'm checking out, like, no kidding. And somebody says, no, I'll take it.
Oh, wow. That's unique.
So there's that theory of how, that works. My theory, because of some other metaphysics and spiritual traditions that I've been studying for years, was that when we pass on, that bit of us that we call the soul is actually part of what I'll call the divine being, or God, goddess, the universe, all that is, the divine being. There is no individuality in the divine being. It's like adding a drop of water to the ocean.
Right.
You'll never retain, you can't pull out that drop of water. It becomes part of the bigger whole.
Right.
That's part number one. Part number two is divine being has no time. We as human beings experience time as being linear, but it isn't. And physics actually is beginning to prove that time doesn't actually go in a linear fashion. For some reason, our brains perceive that, but that isn't necessarily what's going on, and there is no time.
So what is there?
So
Only now?
Sharifah, you're technically my past life.
Explain that one.
Because it's all happening simultaneously.
Okay. So wouldn't I then to be in your future life or in your future?
I am your future life and you are my past life.
That's
But we are happening simultaneously because there is no time.
Right. I like that. That's a different way to look at it.
God, divine being, universe, all that is just going into all the bodies all the time.
Right.
Right. And then they die and bits are, but it's all happening simultaneously. It's a brain stretch.
Right.
I mean, once you get that whole picture, it's like, wow, okay. So here's the interesting thought. Jesus is all of our past lives. Muhammad is all of our past lives.
Mm-hmm.
Hitler is all of our past lives. Genghis Khan is all of our past lives.
I see you give this a lot of thought.
Right? All the people that you love or that you hate are actually parts of divine being that are inhabiting or might have been inhabiting a body, but really, it's all in present tense, are inhabiting a body right now. We just see it linearly. Mm-hmm. And so the idea that, I had a past life as a farmer, or I had a past life that was Cleopatra, is equally likely. And in fact, absolutely true. So it makes sense.
We were everyone.
For everyone. You have Cleopatra as your past life too, because it is.
It is all that it is.
All that it is happening simultaneously right now.
I like that. I always say magic and miracles happen in the moment. So everything happens in the moment. So what I think our audience wants to know, because we get to talking, Sue, and we can talk for hours. Yes. But I know everyone is sitting here trying to figure out, okay, so you can help people with hypnotherapy. You can help people with past life regressions. How does that take us to attracting profits?
Yes. So after a while, after I've been practicing my hypnotherapy for a while, of course, I joined chambers of commerce because networking. And I did a lot of networking, and people in different practices would come to me for advice because I'd done business literally from the inside out. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I would say, oh, you've got to do this, and here's this, and here's this. And I was doing business plans for people kind of for free. And I was attracting, my right customers. It was really easy to do. And eventually I realized that hypnotherapy was great, but what really made me happy was helping people get their businesses off the ground and helping people, no, you could do this. This is really cool. You can make a living. You can make a thriving living with your business if you just do it right. Right.
I enjoy that as well, helping entrepreneurs and that excitement they get when they finally like, Eureka, I got it. It's working. Yes, it's a wonderful feeling.
Yes. And so I took pretty much everything that I'd known up until that point and sort of put it into a package called the Profit Attraction Formula, which is aligned to profit, which is all about getting your perfect customers and figuring out who you are and the identity of you and your business. And then permission to profit, which is the whole get over your money blocks thing. So many people have fear of success, fear of failure, fear of money. Money is evil. Money isn't evil. Money is just energy. I'd much rather pull $100 bill out of my wallet than drive a herd of cattle. Let me just tell you.
Never heard that one before, but yes, I agree.
Right. One of the classes that I took in when I was studying to be computer information systems was I took a bunch of business courses, and one of them was about finance in general and money. And it was like, no, money is why we don't have large herds of cattle.
Right.
Trying to exchange those. It's like,
yes,
or olive trees, no, it's much easier to pull $100 bill out of your wallet and pay for something.
Pay for it.
So the permission to profit is all about getting over the money blocks, and working with that, and then connect to profit, which is putting all of that together and creating your own personal marketing plan and your own individual way of attracting your clients so that you can attract profit, so you can have a thriving business. And I love doing that for people. And I just think that is the best thing ever, because I used to try to do it in a different way. It was like I'd try to teach the sales and marketing stuff, and it would never work. And then I'd have to realize, oh, they've got money blocks. Okay, we have to back it up, and we have to get rid of the money blocks, and we have to do all this stuff. And then I realized that part of the money blocks had to do with their identity and their sense of self and who they were. And so I had to back. So that was why I do it in that order.
No, I get it. I understand. When I used to teach sales, and we would try to figure out why this person wasn't selling, why they weren't more successful. And like you, I first thought it was sales, or it was the technique. But what I learned is they didn't take enough calls. They were so afraid of going for the sale or asking for the sale. Instead of taking around 100 calls a day, they take maybe 20. So they draw out and have these long drawn out conversations, so they didn't have to take another call and go after the sale again. But it wasn't necessarily their technique. It was the amount of times they went up to bat.
And how they perceived going up to bat. Right. That it wasn't part of who they were. It wasn't going to work. They'd always failed before. Or if they succeeded, what then did they do? They'd set the bar too high, and then they'd have to make it again. I could tell you the whole litany of stuff. And if we can clear that, then it becomes much easier. Then people are like, yeah, give me the phone. Let's go. Give me the emails. Let's get on it.
So how long does it take to clear? That's what, is this a 6-year clearing, a 6-month clearing? How long does it take to clear these?
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't happen in the moment.
I need it fixed. Gone
right now. There are some times when I can clear something like right away. There are some techniques that I use with sound healing, because I bring sound healing into my coaching practice, that, I can clear up blocks. Can I tell you a story about one of my
Absolutely.
Clients? This was the best thing. I was doing a demo of a technique called emotional freedom technique. And the guy who came up, it was a little bit of a ringer. He was a client of mine, but not, we were working on something else altogether, on a personal level. And so we get up there, and I said, what do you want to work on? And he says, I want to work on my fear of heights. I'm terrified of heights. And me and my girlfriend are going to go to New York, and I know she wants to go to the Empire State Building, and I can't do it. I can't even step in the elevator. If I think about going into the elevator, I get all stuck. And you could hear his voice. Just, And so I went through a round of EFT with him, and it was like, okay, yeah, I can imagine like getting in the elevator and getting up. We went through another round, and he was like, yeah, I could get out on the platform. We did another round, and he said, wow, I can imagine myself getting up to the railing and looking down. And he went, oh my God, I just realized the reason I haven't been successful in my business is because I didn't want to get that high.
That's deep. That is very deep.
And he looked at me and he said, that was worth every penny I have ever paid you for, for doing that. That was amazing. So sometimes the blocks are hidden under something else.
Right. Yes. On how you look at it. I understand that. But you also, Sue, you mentioned sound healing.
Yes.
For those who aren't aware, can you tell us about sound healing?
Yes. So I do two flavors, as it were, of sound healing. I do sound healing that I call more of the physical side of sound healing. And I use tuning forks. Actually, I'm going to share my screen right now. I'm going to show you my, oops, where did you go? There you are. I'm going to show you my tuning forks. So these tuning forks, they're called the body tuners. And there's a pair of them, and I'll ring them. You're not going to hear very much. These will ring. These will sound good. But what these do is these change the physiology of your body. They actually reduce stress in your body by releasing what's called nitric oxide out of your cells. And nitric oxide is the trigger for your body. When your cells get a certain level of nitric oxide, not nitrous oxide, this is not your dentist's office, nitric oxide, that is the trigger for your body to start sending out cortisol and other stress hormones. And when you can reduce nitric oxide in your body, then the stress hormones go down and literally people go to sleep because they've been holding on to so much stress. When we release it, it's like a rubber band and they just, so hopefully nobody's going to go to sleep here.
No, we're not going to go to sleep. But Sue, would something like this help me with my back problems?
This one won't, but other ones will, yes. So I don't know whether you're hearing any of that.
I am hearing it.
Okay, there we go. So these are the body tuners. And if for those who are technically minded, one of these is at 256 Hertz and the other is 384 Hertz. Now, yes, this is a G and a C or a C and a G. You can play this on the piano. It will not have the same effect because the tuning forks have specific harmonics that are built into them that is not in the piano. So the other forks that I use that would help you with your back problem, and Sharifah, I'd have to see you in person. So I'd have to come down to where you are to do this.
So you're coming to Long Beach.
I'm coming to Long Beach.
Okay.
These are called weighted forks. And you can see, I call these the Princess Leia forks. You can see why. They've got these two funny looking things at the end. And what they do is, and they've also got this particular one, let's see, whoops, where's the thing? This has got a super long handle. And what happens with these, I'm gonna stop share for a minute and we'll see if I can make this work on camera. What happens with these is you actually, nope, they're not gonna, you can't tell. What I'm doing is I'm applying, there we go, maybe I could do it that way. There we go. I'm applying them directly to the body.
So you just put them on the body and we're not hearing them
on the body. I put them on the body in specific places. Like I'm trying to aim for my, I think this is either the 23 or the 32 kidney point in acupuncture. These are clearing energy spots in acupuncture, and in EFT you tap here. This is one of the major tapping points. But you don't really, I mean, unless they're right next to you, I don't know if you'd hear these.
I can hear static. I can hear that there's some
noise. There's something going on. These are very, very low. This is a very, very low tone. And the primary thing about these is that these things are going at 144. This one is going at 89 times a second.
Oh, wow.
It's vibrating, and that vibration goes through and it comes out here at the point. And when you apply that to the body, it's applying that vibration to the body. And not only can you apply them to various acupuncture points, but you can also apply them to muscle and to bone. And when you apply them directly to the bone, my favorite thing is to put them right at the edge of the shoulder, right at the connector point of the shoulder, because that point almost never gets touched. And it goes right through the neck, into the collarbone, down in here, across the chest. And it's just a total relaxation. It's like getting a massage from the inside out.
Oh, wow.
It just relaxes. It's amazing.
So let me ask you, Sue, do you ever get sick? Or are you one of those people that you start to get a little pain and you're like, let me get the tuning fork?
99.9% of the time, I don't get sick. And up until a couple of weeks ago, I'd never had a flu shot. I strongly suspect that I had COVID a year ago, January.
Right.
Because I got sicker than I have ever gotten in my life. And I was down for 2 weeks, which is so not normal. I mean, normally I go, oh yeah, I'm getting kind of a sniffle. I'm getting kind of, oh yeah, okay, I got a little fever, boom, 3 days later, I'm over it. In a week, I'm up.
Right.
This took 2 weeks of me being down, and then weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of recovery.
I know. I was sick in February of last year, and then again for a couple of weeks in, and I think January of this year. And so I believe a lot more people actually had COVID than were diagnosed with COVID.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And my reaction to the vaccination was very similar to what I was experiencing at the beginning of my sickness the last time.
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, I remember feeling like this. Okay, we're going to take it easy.
Yes. But Sue, okay, so we talked about that, and I've just been so excited because one of the things that, I don't know if you brought your card, Sue. I don't know if you brought your card, Sue.
I did.
But I think
my cards.
I know, because it's like, I think you did the cards on the first show you appeared on, and we were just like, oh, let's do it because you're here. And then ever since then, all the shows have been so busy and packed that we didn't have enough time to do it again. Before we go into the cards, tell us a little bit about them, how you fell in love with them, why you started to do them.
Right. So when I was 7 or 8 or 9 years old, I don't remember exactly, my parents gave me a set of divination cards. I have no idea why they did this. This wasn't part of our background. It wasn't, it wasn't ever talked about, but apparently my parents decided that, hey, let's give her a pack of cards. And, and I played with them, and with one of them, things seemed to work, which actually scared me. So I put them away. I didn't use them. And then I brought them out in college, and they seemed to work, and I got scared and I put them away. And then in my hypnotherapy school, one of the things they talked about was archetypes. And they actually had an entire class on archetypes via tarot, and taught the tarot in a way that was really interesting and not about woo-woo or metaphysics or divining the future or anything like that. It was, here is a way of looking at people in the world and how things are. And then I met my teacher, my tarot, who became ultimately my tarot teacher, at a hypnotherapy conference, James Wanless, who created the Voyager deck. And he took archetypes to a whole new level. And he called it fortune creation, not fortune telling.
I like that.
Right? So it's like, pull the cards so that you can figure out what you want to do or what you don't want to do, and have it be a fortune creation.
Yes. But it helps because we're gonna go back to the tarot, but your book, and I love your
Yes.
book. And actually, let me tell you this, Sue. This is not a plug for another book. I'm just gonna tell you this. One of my friends literally stole your book from me. Like, she borrowed it because we were doing it here in my house, and then she borrowed it, quote unquote, borrowed it, and I've never seen that book again. And I've actually asked her twice for your book. I'm like, excuse me, can you give me that book back? Because I need it. I want to use it for different people. She's like, I'll bring it to you. I have not seen that book, but when I had the book and I did my archetype, I was the Empress. And it made so much sense because the Empress is so nurturing and she's everybody's mother. And like, I always try to take care of people. And I also love the aspect of the Empress can basically get along with everyone. And that's me, because I go in and I'm everyone's friend. I have people, so I have people from all walks of life. And I was like, you know what? The Empress resonates with me.
Yes, yes. And the thing, and the downside is you want to take care of your boundaries.
Yes, that's what I need to work on.
Right? That's the Empress's, Achilles heel is, I want to help you, and 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 oh my God, wait, I don't have enough batteries for this.
That's me in a nutshell.
I don't have enough spoons. And there's no spoons for me. Absolutely. Yeah, you gotta work on those boundaries, because you got to be able to say no, or if not no, how about next Saturday? Or how about 6 o'clock or something? I got to carve time out for me and recharge my battery so I can give to you.
Right. Okay. So go ahead, finish. I just wanted to share that little story with you.
And so I'll do a plug for my book. So my book is called 21 Templates That Run Your World. And it's using the major arcana in the tarot as personality analysis tool. And it's really spectacular. I mean, if I do say so myself, I know people, they use it in business. I know somebody who's a kindergarten teacher who uses it for his kids, that he uses it in school. This is just an incredible way of getting to know yourself. It's part of what I use in my aligned profit. And it's great for getting to know your customers, because, when I'm teaching this, if I'm doing it in a group setting, it's like, well, the Empress gets along with everybody and Balance gets along with everybody, but the Hermit's not going to get along with everybody. And the Priestess is really not going to get along with everybody. They just know everything. And they're just going to sit there and let everybody fool around with it and then go, yeah, it's over there. And so, you've got to know what the likes and dislikes are. So when I met James Wanless and he introduced me to the Voyager cards and his way of doing tarot readings, that's when I started doing readings for money. And doing fortune creation, and I would do it as part of my consultations, as my coaching, and I really see it as a coaching sort of thing. It's possibility. People they come to me for readings and they try to get me to nail down absolutes. And one of the things that I say is, I quote another tarot teacher. I said, tarot does not have an equal sign in it.
Yes. Right.
There is no this equals this. It's this might be this, or it's sort of like this. It can be this, but it's not, is this.
Yes. Right.
If it happens to work out that way, great. Perfect.
Right.
But and people do come back and go, oh my God, everything you said, was right. And I said, well, I gave you this huge suggestion of fortune creation, of how you can make this work.
Yes, I always think about it like a GPS. That's the way it makes sense in my Sharifah mind.
Yes.
Because a GPS just gives you a map and a time frame based on really estimates.
Yes.
If you remain on this path, this is likely to happen. But just like with a GPS, we have free will. We could just simply decide that we want to go somewhere else, or we're not going at all, or we want to take a detour. But it doesn't change the map that was given. It just changes the fact that you chose to go about it in the way you chose to go about it.
Yes, absolutely. 100%, and the GPS might go, you can go along this route, but there's construction on that road.
Right.
You're going to run into kind of a roadblock. You can choose not to go during rush hour. You can choose to go a different route and go around it all together. You can choose not to go at all.
Right.
And really, that's what it's about. It's all about choice. It's all about free will. And I tell people my very favorite improv routine in improvisational comedy is called Choose Again.
What is choose again?
Choose again is where there's a scenario that gets set up with 2 or 3 people or more, depends on the group. And then there's a, I guess you call it a referee or a moderator on the outside of the group. And the group is doing a scene from something. And somebody will deliver a dialogue and the referee will go, choose again. And they have to come up with a different dialogue or a different motion. Choose again.
I like
Choose
that.
again.
I'm gonna have to try that.
It is my favorite.
I've never played it, but it sounds like fun. I love things like that. So what type of reading are you going to do? What did you have planned for us today, Sue?
Well, I thought I would do a reading on sort of 2021, the rest of 2021. Here we are in spring, right? I believe we're officially in spring now. Somewhere around
the 20th. I think it's the 20th, 21st.
Yeah, we're getting close. It's spring. It's spring forward. It's what energy are we starting off with that we can use to move forward? Or, as I said, there might be road construction.
So we may not want to go.
We may not want to go there. It's like you can choose. So I was just going to shuffle the cards and
so will this apply to everyone?
This would apply to everyone. This is just sort of the general energy going forward of 2021 that you can use as you wish. Okay. You can take it, you can leave it, you can do whatever you want with it. I'm taking the cards. These are rather large economy size cards. I teased James that he made these cards to fit him. He's 6'4". He's a big guy. He's now, this is one of the older versions of the deck. His new ones are more playing card sized for normal fingers, but boy,
I guess he heard you.
It keeps my fingers flexible. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to change cameras here again and share. There we go. All right, so here's the cards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand across the cards, and Sharifah, you're going to channel everybody on the planet. And as I move my hand, remember, you're everybody now anyway. I'm going to move my hand across and you're just going to say now, and I'm going to drop my hand and pick a card. And we're going to do this 3 times.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready? All right, let's go.
Now.
Okay.
Now.
Okay.
Now.
All right. So the 3 cards that we drew, let me get these out of the way. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of apologizing to the table.
I thought you were apologizing to me.
Well, that too.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Ooh, oh, I love it. I love it. All right, so the first card that we have is called the Child of Worlds. And this is the equivalent of the page of coins or pentacles in the traditional tarot deck. And this is subtitled The Player. I'll see if I can get it up there so you can read it. There we go, a little bit. Yeah. So this is The Player. So this is, you know, this is about games. This is about having fun. This is about the childlike, let's have fun with this, right? And as an energy to go into, you know, the new year with, the spring with, this is great energy, right? This is beautiful. Now, what's interesting, this is the call to action. So the call to action is the Five of Cups, and its little subtitle is disappointment. Now, hold on. I like disappointment. I like this card. This is sometimes called one of the caca cards. But the Five of Cups is about managing your expectations. The reason you get disappointed is because you expected something.
Right.
Right. So this is about managing your expectations and not making them, you know, in concrete. Right. It's like, let's see what's going to happen. Let's have a childlike outlook, make it a game, choose again.
Yes.
Right. That, you know, so that you don't get disappointed.
So now I'm dying to hear the third one.
Oh, the third one is wonderful. The third one is the card marked love. It is the Three of Cups. And this is not romantic love. This is community. In the traditional tarot, the Three of Cups usually has three women or three girls dancing together. It's not about couples. It's about community coming together with a wonderful, playful energy, right? So we start off with the child mind. Let's make it a game. Let's have fun with it. We have the manage your expectations. Don't get locked into things. Allow things to just flow and create community.
I like that. I love the way you read it and interpreted, Sue. But you know what how I would kind of interpret that, or what I feel is, you mentioned prior to even starting, you mentioned spring, and you were talking about spring. And you know, my birthday is the 31st of March. I'm celebrating, I'm all excited. So I'm really focused on March. And one of the things they say is the Ides of March turn into April Fools, because we have these grand ideas and these expectations of, oh, I'm going to conquer everything. I'm going to take over the world. And, you know, all these wonderful things are going to happen. Then it's April Fools, you know. But then after even those things happen, you look around and it's like, okay, but I still have the people. I still have the community. People are still coming together and supporting whatever these ideas are. So it's not for loss. And even in the traditional deck, when you have the Two of Cups, that's the couple. It's the two individual people, but the three is creating more. The two create more in the three. So it's expanding out from there. So I see that as the Ides of March take you to April Fools, but it's okay. The people who love you will still love you. Oh, this is good. I like that.
Absolutely. And choose love.
Yes.
If you're going to choose again, choose love.
Yes. I love that. I love that. That is so beautiful. I might have to check out that deck.
Oh, it's a gorgeous deck. I love it. Love it. I don't use any other tarot deck. I got spoiled in 1996 and I have never gone back.
What is it? You said the Voyager deck? Voyager
deck, yes. Yes, the tarot for the 21st century, even though he created it in 1984.
Oh, wow.
And it's still relevant today. He still teaches classes. He teaches classes all over the world.
Wow. And you said it helps, you know, with clarity for you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Sue, I've learned about sound healing. I've learned about your past as a, what were you doing? Programming. You're a programmer. You do tarot readings. You're a profit attraction master. What is an HNP member?
Oh, yes. The Happy Neighborhood Project. So there is a lovely man named Edwin Edibiri who made his millions in the Silicon Valley doing software, and then sat back and said, what else can I do? Read an article in the Harvard Business Review, I guess it is, Harvard Business Journal, about happiness in business creates profits.
Mm-hmm.
The happier a business is, the happier the CEO is, the happier the people are, the more profitability they have. And so he said, how can we make that happen? Not just have it as a theory. How do we make that happen? And so he created the Happy Neighborhood Project and took it out and actually really ramped it up this time last year. This is the 1-year anniversary. And he created a program where people and their businesses commit to spreading happiness.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so you can look up the Happy Neighborhood Project. They have networking all over the world. And in fact, this Friday and Saturday is Global Happiness. Tomorrow is Global Happiness Day, and he's spreading it over 2 days. And there's going to be massive networking all over the world. Last year, they tried to get 1,500 people on. They only got 950, but oh well.
Only 950. Wow.
950. So it was a really big deal.
Wow, Sue, I have enjoyed taking this time to sit down with you. It's always a pleasure. Now, we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching it from the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today.
All right. So if you want to know more about my sound healing and my coaching, you can absolutely go to the website sweetsoundofsuccess.com. That's sweetsoundofsuccess.com, and get your mojo back with some of my sound healing techniques. There's also a menu item there that is about my call to action coaching, which is a little bit of my profit attraction formula. You can get a little taste and go bigger later when you get ready. So Sweet Sound of Success is also the name of my TV show, soon to be a regular podcast. And you can see Sharifah's interview on there. And I would love to have you come and join me and watch me on that.
Yes, I definitely have to check out the Sweet Sound of Success. What a wonderful sound. That's what they call music to my ears. Sue, I want to thank you. Oh, it's always a pleasure, like I said, to have you here. We always laugh and just support each other. And I love having you in the circle and being in your circle, because people like you are always willing to share information, and everyone is not willing to do that. So that's why I always love sitting down and talking with you. Now, again, thank you for being a guest. I also want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch this show, and everyone who is watching it in the archives. But I always ask, I appreciate you watching the show. I appreciate you sharing the show, but please support our guests. Visit Sue's website at sweetsoundofsuccess.com. Reach out to her, follow her on social media. And if you're interested in more ways that I can help your business, or maybe you want to be a guest on Ask Sharifah Videocast, visit my website at AskSharifah.com. Until next time, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.